the last two verses that talk in regards to the hypocrites, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives another analogy in regards to them for us to understand even more of the situation that they put themselves in. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, last time we read about the verse where He said that it's their example is like somebody who puts on a fire and then that fire is completely put out. They're taking light from it, they're trying to take some benefit from it, and there is a light there, but then it just completely goes to darkness. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a similar example but a little bit different way, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَوْ كَصَيِّبٍ مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ فِيهِ ظُلُمَاتٌ وَرَعْدٌ وَبَرْقٌ يَجْعَلُونَ أَصَابِعَهُم فِي آذَانِهِم مِّنَ الصَّوَاعِقِ حَذَرَ الْمَوْتِ وَاللَّهُ مُحِيطٌ بِالْكَافِرِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, or it is like that rain-bearing cloud in the sky, which has darkness in it and has thunder and lightning. They put their fingers in their ears because of the thunderous clap, fearing death. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses the disbelievers. So it's somewhat of a same thing, but more of instantaneous things occurring left and right. Where in the other case, the person creates a fire which they see that there's a lot of benefit from, but then all of a sudden it goes to darkness. And we give the different ways that it can apply to their life as a whole, which life they're taking benefit from the believers and they're taking benefit from Islam, but then in the afterlife they take no benefit or ultimate. But it's an overall picture. And now we're getting this other picture that instantaneous things that keep occurring left and right, where they see something, it's something shiny that they take benefit from, but in actuality they just ends up leaving them in darkness. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this time He gives the example and says, or they're like this example. Now in certain cases it's like saying that or the or over here could be like that's one group, and then there's also another group of hypocrites that are this way. Or it could be this, or can be that's their quality, and being or in the meaning of and, this is another example of what they're like. So now a sayyib is a cloud that bears rain. And again, we're talking about people in the desert over here, where they're in Saudi. There's a desert. It's when they see that cloud of rain coming, that's a sign of good fortune. And the same way that when we say the Shahada, when we bring faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we believe this to be a good action. Even the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says one's deeds, bad deeds, no matter how much they are, they're forgiven and exchanged into good deeds when they come to belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So it's that sign that, oh man, something good's about to happen. It's going to be a little bit of ease. And where is the ease? Technically from these rain clouds, one, there's this darkness that's there. The darkness is it may seem scary, but in that time, I mean, just think of it as it's coolness, there's heat, and it's bringing you the shade. There's lightning and thunder, which also, I mean, it's scary, but it also has benefit where it affects both the soil and clears up the nitrogen and everything in the sky. It has benefit for it as well. But the rain itself, the main thing is that these things are bringing rain along with it. Yes, there are some things that may be a bit scary or may not be exactly what we want, but the main thing that we get from it is the rain. And that's the source of livelihood. Especially over there where they need that rain for plants and everything else as well. Even though they have sources of water, this is what will save them from drought and make their crops in plenty. So this is instead of that rain becoming a source of good for them, it's actually becomes something that they're scared of. And over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them this example that it's like they hear this thunderous clap and they're putting their hands in their ears, fearing death because of that sound that it's making. So first of all, before we get into that, we see that these good fortune, which is the rain that's coming, becomes a type of misfortune for them. Now, with the rain bearing cloud that's coming, it's a good fortune. What scholars say, well, let's just say, bring it down to a different way to analyze it and make it something that we can understand. They'll say just picture that to be the faith and the Quran. That's when the faith comes to you, it brings you good fortune. When the Quran comes to you, it brings you good fortune. Gives you glad tidings. And it's coming to it now with the Quran, and it's bringing faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's these responsibilities that come as well. You have to pray 5 times a day. You have to now change your attitude towards the creation. You have to be considerate. If you're the parents, kids have certain rights on you. If you're kids, parents have rights on you. Neighbors have rights on each other. There's a type of responsibility that comes on you, which some may be difficult and some may be easy. But all of them are treated in the same way, that these are things I have to bring and make it a part of my life. Now, for the hypocrites, some of these basic responsibilities were something that was hard for them. They saw it as something that was a hardship, as opposed to something that eases one's life. Like, for example, in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, the prayer, the salah, is the coolness of my eyes. It's this joy and pleasure that I get when I stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to pray before Him. The hypocrites saw this as a very a burden, like, oh man, I have to go pray again, I have to go to the mosque, otherwise people are going to say stuff. And they would try to avoid when they can, but they would have to go there at times just so they're not singled out. So they're doing it as a burden, they're not doing it as an enjoyment. And they're not, now these things that are there for our benefit become a hardship for them. It's like a kid nowadays. You tell them, do your homework. And they're like, oh, I don't want to do my homework. I have to do something else. But that homework is beneficial for them, because it helps them out, ease their future, and ease what's to come in the future. So now they're looking at something that's beneficial, like the rain. They're not seeing the rain. They're saying, oh man, there's darkness, there's lightning, there's thunder. And the main thing that they get from it, which gives them the source of life, they're not noticing that. And they're not noticing all the benefits that come with faith in the Quran. They're noticing just only the burden that comes, the hardships and the responsibilities that now they have to endure, which they felt before they didn't have to. And the other thing now is that if you look at it, okay, with these things, the rain that's coming, and it's there as a sign, a good fortune to bring life. However, when it comes and it's mixed with darkness, then now it comes in the middle of the night. Now there's rain, it's coming down, there's thunder, there's clap. Now it's a bit more scary than what it normally is if it came in the day. And that's the difference between these responsibilities that are there in front of us when we have faith in those responsibilities, as opposed to not having any kind of faith behind it, and it just seems like a checklist or a burden to us. So the other thing that we should note is that, look at what they're trying to do. This person, when in the example, he puts his fingers in his ears, fearing the thunder's clap, thinking that, oh no, I might die. But even if you're going to, and if you fear that, would putting one's fingers in one ear give any kind of benefit? It's a fake type of just peace and tranquility, that you're like, oh, if I don't hear it, it can't strike me. It's like, someone gets scared as a little kid and they close their eyes because they're scared, thinking, if I don't see it, it can't hurt me. But whatever's there, if it's going to hurt you, whether one's looking at it or not, it's going to harm you. Whether you hear the thunder or not, if it's there to hit you and strike you, it's going to strike you. Putting one's fingers in one's ears does nothing to avoid that. Maybe going undercover, maybe making sure not going into something where it has a long pole sticking out, where lightning may strike, maybe. But to just simply sit there and put your fingers in one's ears, it's not going to bring any kind of benefit. So even now, we take it back to their example now, that's the analogy, but they're doing many different things, thinking that, oh no, if I just stay like this, just give an excuse right here, make up a lie over here, I'm okay. Oh no, I don't have to go with the Prophet ﷺ in that expedition. I can sit back. I won't have any kind of punishment because I'll make up a lie. Everything's going good. They'll never find out. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already informed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam of who they are. No benefit. But in their minds, it's just like, if I don't hear it, it can't hurt me. If I don't see it, it can't hurt me. It's just a fake sense of relief. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to prove that, He said, Wallahu muhitun bil kafirin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses all of the disbelievers. There's nothing that escapes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge. Leave the sayings and the words and the gatherings and the actions in their hearts, where none of them can see each other's hearts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in their hearts. So it's a complete type of encompassment, not the type that we would try to do in any way. A castle gets surrounded, they find a way to go underground. There's ways to escape one another. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses us, there is no escape. And now with the situation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes back to the lightning. He says, يَكَادُ الْبَرْقُ يَخْطَفُ أَبْصَارَهُم كُلَّمَا أَضَاءَ لَهُم مَشَوْا فِيهِ وَإِذَا أَظْلَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ قَامُوا وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَذَهَبَ بِسَمْعِهِمْ وَأَبْصَارِهِمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Now, this example of them living this life and getting these quick fortunes and thinking that they're gonna get by with these, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's as if the lightning completely just take away their eyesight. Every time it makes light for them, they walk. And when it gets dark, when the light goes away, they stand still. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, He would have completely taken out their hearing and their eyesight. Verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has power over all things. So now this is like a sort of a different incidents that occur left and right. Oh, I escaped this one. Okay, I can lie over here. Oh, I got away with over here. I got away with over here. These are all just incidents in their life where they quickly see a shine of light. We're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go this way. But then in reality, they're just left in darkness afterwards. And if you look at the hypocrisy, there is no, even if you you think that you protected yourself, the hypocrite thinks that he protected himself from a situation, that thing that's in their hearts, that, oh no, I don't want them to find out, that's continuous. It never stops. It's like someone lies for an incident, like a kid will lie for something. It's that haunting will just go in the back of their minds. Oh, what if they find out? Do they really know? What if my parents actually know and they're just waiting for me to give it up? It's just haunting left and right, and they're going through this continuously. So they're thinking that, okay, I got away. They got some light. They see which way to go, and they got away. But then what happens when lightning strikes? When lightning strikes and it gives you this quick flash of what's around you, as soon as it goes away, it's just like the fire from the previous one. Your eyesight quickly adjusts to that, goes back to the darkness. It gets as if it's darker, and your sight has to take a few more seconds now to get used to the new darkness. And you get even more blinded than when you were when there was no lightning. Because your eyesight was adjusted, it adjusts to the darkness. The lightning comes, removes that adjustment, and now it has to readjust. It's even the person will get set in a darker situation than before. So when someone plays these kinds of games with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they play these kind of games with themselves or with other people, it's just they're digging, trying to get out of a trench. You're stuck in a hole, and the only way that you think you can get out is by digging. Yeah, there's some there's like memes going on where people dig at a certain angle, but the reality of it is that there's a much better way to do so. So these guys are putting themselves deeper into darkness, and it looks like they're always going to escape, but each plan, each sort of way that they come up with to try to trick people more, it just puts them deeper into that darkness, deeper into that trench. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, they would have completely been blind and deaf. But look at how long they have before they actually go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that any one of those opportunities, they could just say, you know what? Why am I doing this? Let me just be straightforward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Even if it's leadership, be like, you know what? I want to be a true Muslim. Let me be the leader. I want to be a leader. Okay, I can't do it. Can I be? There's people like, for example, Bilal radhiyallahu anhu. Before he was a Muslim, he did not even own a thing to himself, not even his own self. He never aspired to become a leader, yet he became governor when the Prophet ﷺ had already passed away, and they were putting different governors in different areas, and he was a governor over in Syria. And you just think of the shift in the situation of Bilal radiallahu anhu, and he didn't do that, but it's just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated him that way. So we don't have to make these kinds of intentions where we're praying salah, we're reading Quran, we're doing all these things, and then we have this hidden agenda behind it. We don't need to do that. Just be straightforward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're going to get that honor that comes automatically. Just intend Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's pleasure, and everything else just comes along with it. And because you see that these situations, they're like that, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in power of all of it. He has control over everything. Yusuf alayhi salam, a slave for so many years, then became somewhat honorable, went back to jail for some crime that he didn't even commit, came back only to become king. He could have changed anywhere along that path. But that's what sincerity does to you. It keeps you in a straight path and allows you to deal with whatever situation you're in, and ultimately you get out of it and you get put in a situation where you are much better off than before. Ayyub alayhi salam got sick for so many years. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed that sickness and give him even better than what he had before. And ultimately, even if someone spends their whole life in a certain situation, but they remain in a spiritual sense that they understand it's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're going to return to Him, even if they don't become a king in this part of their life, they become bigger than a king in the afterlife next to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for all of us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for all of our shortcomings. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.